Konbanwa minasan. We are back for another episode of live Clow card readings. And tonight we have a very good episode packed in. Apologize for all the yelling in the background. Wasn't anticipating all that. But yeah, before my train of thought got derailed there, I was just gonna say, yeah, we are going to do our usual reading for myself. If anybody else would like their fortune told, feel free to just comment gender, zodiac sign, and if you would like general future, romance, or career readings, and I will tell your fortune before the conclusion of this broadcast. I will also read a bit of Neville Goddard, and we will discuss the latest developments, of course, with my relationship with Hitomi Shimatani, Chihara Minori, my dear best friend, and all the new exciting developments as far as my journey. So it'll be very good. And also, of course, the plans for the new album, which will be dropped September 4th, a big bounce to a higher ideal reality, released on Hitomi's birthday, and the new album that I'm working on, A Point to Prove, which thanks everybody. I appreciate you all checking out my response to Mystic World, Bokumo Ai Stereo. Now my most viewed song and music video with over 3,200 plus views, and it keeps climbing. 25 likes, let's keep it going. It's wonderful. I could honestly say I'm amazed that the biggest hit of my entire career was me singing a Japanese pop song, which is why with the new album, A Point to Prove, I'm probably going to end up singing the majority of the songs as Japanese pop songs. You know, strike while the iron's hot. If the going's good, then go with the flow. So let me get my bag of crystals. I always draw a more clear, in-depth energy when I have these on my arm, sort of like an armband. And yeah, we will start off now with the general future. I'm actually going to move that out of the way because it'll blow the cards. All right. So yeah, we will start off with the general future as our traditional custom, and then we will move into romance and career. Let's see. That's just informing me that we are live. That's good. Anyways, oh great Clow cards of Kurorido, using the power of the sun, the moon, and the stars. Reveal to me the message that you would like me to know and become aware of, using the infinite intelligence of universal consciousness to guide me with these cards. Reris, the mirror, the mist, the fly, the glow, and the freeze. Okay, so what the mirror is indicating is that lately I have seen things or felt things and thought things that have been seen reflecting outward. What's inside reflects outward. And I can vouch for that and testify that that has been proven more and more true, especially lately with certain things that it's like as I think about things more or I delve into the idea of things, I'm seeing more and more of, as Abraham Hicks would call, the vortex projecting outwards a lot of what I'm internally feeling and thinking about. So it's very interesting in that regards. The mirror is reflecting out. The mist indicates that certain things from the past are dissolving. It's also indicating that this is sort of like a confusing transitional time, kind of like in a misty haze of not really knowing where to go, what exactly is the next step. But it's all kind of dissolving the barriers that perhaps I had artificially created for myself long ago. The fly is indicating going somewhere, traveling, but also like rising to new heights, basically feeling free, a sense of freedom and the ability to travel where perhaps I've always dreamed of traveling is in the future. It's the general future. The glow indicates that, like, because I'm learning how to control my emotions and my energy, it's projecting more of a natural positive glow than I may have had in past eras of not only my career but my life as well, romance, all of that. The general future, it's glowing bright, especially at this phase of the journey. The freeze indicates that now is the time also to kind of stop, freeze, take note of everything, and not sort of tippy toe through life, but just to become more aware and to be more cautious of what thoughts and feelings I may be putting into my vortex. All right. Now we'll see what else the general future has in store. So, oh, great Clow cards, reveal to me more clarity regarding the message of the first 5 cards using the cards of the sun, the moon, and the stars created by the great Cororito. Release. The maze, the rain, the dash, the jump, and the dream. All right. So to show all the cards previously, we had the mirror, as you could see, then the mist, followed by the fly, the glow, and the freeze. So that was the first 5. Now with the next 5, we have the maze, the rain, the dash, the jump, and the dream. Now, some people might notice there's less papers kind of scattered on the walls of the room. The reason is I was actually expecting company, and I thought they might think it was weird. It was an old friend from high school I hadn't seen in a while who promised and claimed they wanted to come see me and all this. Then they ended up standing me up. I actually got stood up twice recently. But I'm not worried about it. I'm like, well, they ain't know he told me Shimatani, so I don't really care. But it did kind of bother me. It's like, if you're not interested, if you're going to just play games, why waste somebody's time? And I'm a person who is, especially lately, because I've quit my bad habits, like a lot of my bad habits, I'm working towards all of them. But having quit a lot of my bad habits already, I'm very OCD about my time. Not in a bad way. I'm just very conscious of my time. I don't like to waste time. In fact, if people take too long to show up, I get tempted. I'm like, you know what? I'm not sitting here wasting my time all day. I'll go for a walk, get some exercise, and do something productive. Oh, I'll do this right now, because I don't like to sit there and just waste my time. So with people doing that, I get very frustrated. Like that one person who didn't show up. Like, I made all these necessary arrangements to make the room a little less crazy seeming to outsiders who don't know what I'm studying or what I'm working towards, and tidy it up, all that, and then they don't show up. So you know what? It's this person named Samantha Dixon, and it's like, I actually mentioned them in this song named Headshot Up. So it's like, that's the person I'm talking about. But the point is, like, as a lot of the coaches teach, like, you send love, peace, light, and gratitude, and forgiveness. And even if they wronged you, you send that out. But you don't necessarily have to like them. And I would just say, you know what? I wish them the best positive vibes, but I definitely don't like them, and I wouldn't want to see them anymore. Just to be civil about it, but I just I wouldn't even want them to come see me now, because they wasted my time and they did that. And then the other person is like, we actually were in the process of meeting this girl named Cheyenne, and then like, we were going to meet up again. We had said it that it was going to be Monday, and then they just blocked me. Didn't say anything, just out of nowhere. I was even just going to message them to confirm, hey, are we still meeting? Like, what time? What's the plan? And then, yeah, blocked me. Didn't even say a word. It's like, if you're not interested, then just say you're not interested. It's like, you know what? Love, light, peace, gratitude, forgiveness, all that. But they're not no Hitomi Shimatani. They're not no I Otani. They're not no Chihara Minori. They're not any of my dear Japanese friends like Haruka-san or Yoshida-san. So I don't really care. It's not like it would really bother me that much, but it's like, why play games? It's just immature. We're all grown adults. At least Japanese people are very polite, honorable. The system of giri, you don't waste people's time. You don't disrespect them. If they're good to you, you're good in return. It's better to give than to receive, right? And that's why I appreciate all my Japanese friends, because they're all very kind, understanding, and it seems like they like me more. And they're a lot nicer to me than women here in North America or Canada in particular, right? I mean, I actually have women in America who seem to like me and are nicer to me more than women in Canada. I don't know what it is, but either way, I like the women more in Japan, so I'm not even like complaining in that regard. Just figured I would point out that statement. Anyways, with these next 5 cards, especially the maze card here in particular, how that relates to is it's saying that life is going through sort of a series of passages where it could go one way, it could go another way. It's all leading to the final destination point, right? However, to get to the final destination point, there's many different paths or turns or ways that the journey could take me upon getting there. So it's not focusing on taking one specific way, because by trying to go one way, I might hit a dead end or a brick wall and have to turn around. So just letting my intuition, my spirit, my mind guiding me focused on the end more than what directions I have to take, because as of yet, I'm still not certain with like a lot of the things I could do or should do. Next, we have the rain card, which is indicating that this is the time where things are going to kind of go down, they're going to fall down, but it's also a time of cleansing. For plants to grow in the wild, you need like sun and rain. So this is a necessary part of the growth to grow through these uh, situations and to, expand, to become more internally strong with dealing with the current of life, but also not struggling, but learning to go with the flow. The dash is indicating that I've been trying to go really fast, that there is certain things that are meant to happen really fast, other things not to rush it, because you notice when you make a dash or something, it's like you could go really really fast for a short time, but if you go too fast, you can't really hold on with endurance. So what this is saying is sometimes you might need to dash. It might be necessary to take action that is like a dash. You go really fast and you go with it all out, but not always is this the case, which is why I think the rain is paired up with the dash, because it's saying to keep in mind that this is sort of the rainy season of like what the vortex is trying to reveal to me, to not go so fast. Some things I may need to do fast, I may need to really rush right towards it and do it, but not to rush with fear, but just to feel confident and certain that when it's time to make the right move, to do it quickly, to not stop or hesitate, but to just trust the process. The jump is indicating taking a leap of faith, that I'm going to be like going to certain levels of awareness or consciousness and jumping up to them where I've never been before. That this is a very key and crucial transitional phase. That by jumping forward where I've maybe been held back, I've been hesitant, I've been afraid, that this is going to lead me to a lot of the results that my heart has actually been seeking. The dream is indicating too that this is part of like being guided by the universe. I had this really weird dream where I was like in this old like I guess you could call it a secondhand store with my ex of all people. It was weird. An ex that I haven't talked to or seen in a very long time. But oddly enough, I was there with them. It wasn't like a dream of the past because I had never been to this place with them. But it was odd because while I was there, I was looking at all these different Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Yet they were Yu-Gi-Oh cards I didn't recognize. I'd never seen before. None of the ones I have, because I have quite a collection of them. And it was odd because it almost felt like it was showing me what else is out there that I'm not aware. And I think the idea of the X being there was to basically, I've been holding on to ideas of relationships of the past, and it might be necessary to let that go and leave that behind in order to move on to the new ideas, the new prospects, the new concepts that I may not have been aware of, which is why I saw all these cards I didn't recognize, right? So that's the next 5 cards. Very interesting symbolism with these 10 for the general future. Now we will do romance. Okay. Oh, great Clow cards of Kurorido. Reveal to me what message regarding my romance that you would enlighten me with today using the power of the sun, the moon, and the stars. There is. Okay, this is a very interesting fortune in itself. So, what this fortune is basically telling me is the fight. That this is like, it's basically like all the struggle, all the difficulties, the fighting, the battle is almost coming to an end. That's why this comes first. Like, first you have to fight, but then the lock. Fixate on the end result, the goal, the desire, the dream, the lock. And then the float, meaning I'm going to be rising above anything I thought of my previous conceptions of the journey with my romance. The create means that I've actually been creating other things within my vortex which resemble ideas based around the person I love, and that I'm drawing more of that towards me to show me just how close I am, but not to lose faith or heart in my original assumption or desire. The fiery shows up oddly enough because it's saying that the same passion that I had when I first made the assumption, that's what I have to hold on to, but not dwell so much on the means either. Don't get burned by the candle, basically. Hold the candle, but don't light it at both ends and end up getting burnt. Hold on to the passion, yeah, the fire, the drive, and the feeling of it, but don't overexert myself with that feeling because I might end up getting burnt. So that's very interesting regarding the situation with my romance. Now we will get into the career. All right. Oh, great Clow cards of Kurorido. Using the power of the sun, the moon, and the stars, reveal to me what message you have tonight for me in regards to my career. There is the flower, the thunder, the bubble, the windy, and the heart, or the love card. So this is a very interesting reading because this would have actually made more sense to be a reading for romance. However, I understand because of the symbolism and the combination of all these cards and getting put together. So we have the flower first, which indicates that this is going to be like a real harvesting time, a real season of blossoming within like the flowers of my career. The thunder is indicating that I'm supercharged about it, and with the idea that I'm going to be recording the next song for my new album, my second song singing all in Japanese, I'm very pumped up. I'm excited about it. I'm fueling off the energy of that. So I'm supercharged. The thunder is strong within me. The bubbles indicates that new things regarding manifestation, new opportunities, new things regarding the career, opportunities, situations, rewards are starting to bubble up to the surface in a very friendly and lovely way. The windy is indicating that the heights that I am reaching and about to reach with my career, that are in the process of, it's already done, but I'm reaching them and I'm discovering with my own awareness the new heights that I had never reached before with my career, are actually blowing away all the past results in the dust. Meaning, it's an example with my new music video, my new single, Boku mo Aishiteru yo. With that song in itself, the fact that it has over 3,200 views, it's more viewed than any of my songs or my music videos on YouTube. So it has blown away the results of anything I have done in the past, which shows I'm heading on the right track, a new level of growth and expanding awareness. The love card indicates that because these new songs that are Japanese pop songs that I'm writing and singing in Japanese and recording, they're all about concepts around love. Like with Boku mo Aishiteru yo, it was written for Hitomi. Um, my new song, Koishiteru, which translates to in love, is like it's about the idea of love in general. Like, yes, romantic love, but also you could have love for a friend. Just the idea of love being very beautiful. People asking you, are you all right? They're giving prayers, they're giving thanks, best wishes, things like that. Like the idea of love itself. And it's funny because I'm dedicating that song to my very good friend Otani-san. Her name is Ai, which oddly enough, AI in Japanese is actually the character for love, and aishiteru means like I love you. So it's like everything's kind of tied together. It's like this thread of love that is binding everything, including the love for the music, the love for my friend, the love for Hitomi, the love for the concepts of the new songs being about love. So everything is kind of just blending together in the right way. It's all like the vortex is swirling with many different concepts and perceptions regarding a revolving sort of doors with love. So everything centers back to love is what that means. And it's very interesting to relate that to the career reading, but it does tie into like a lot of the romantic situations as well. So there we have it. If anybody else would like readings, whether it's romance, general future, or career, just comment gender, zodiac sign if you'd like general future, romance, or career, and I will give you your fortune told as well. Now, in the meantime, before we get into our discussion, we will read a bit of Neville Goddard and what I'm feeling. It's interesting that I landed on this chapter in particular. I feel like, okay, there must be something about this chapter that wants me to read. It's not too long either. The first chapter I landed on when I opened this up is chapter 5, The Sabbath, of Neville Goddard's book, Freedom for All. So this is what we'll read tonight, taking the wisdom from the great Neville Goddard, who's probably my favorite teacher. I'd say I've learned the most from him. I've learned a lot from Bob Proctor. I admit that. I actually did learn a lot from him. I don't really agree with certain things about him. And I also learned a lot from Abraham Hicks. I really liked learning from Abraham Hicks as well. Actually, Abraham Hicks is very funny, easy to listen to, kind of takes a lot of the pressure off, especially when some of these coaches and teachers kind of have scary interpretations of the laws of the universe. Abraham is very lighthearted about it, which makes it very enjoyable to listen to. And same with Neville Goddard, because Neville Goddard is very faith and spiritual based. So it's like you have to connect to the spiritual being, which is like your connection to God within the universal consciousness before you can expect to change the concept of self. Which, as you feel closer to God, it feels like, okay, I might not know how to do it, but if God knows the answer, He will work through me to reveal what I don't know over time. So here we are, chapter 5, the Sabbath of his book, Freedom for All. 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day there shall be to you an holy day, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. These 6 days are not 24-hour periods of time. They symbolize the psychological moment. A definite subjective state is fixed. These 6 days of work are subjective experiences and consequently cannot be measured by sidereal time, for the real work of fixing a definite psychological state is done in consciousness. The time spent in consciously defining yourself as that which you desire to be is the measure of these 6 days. A change of consciousness is the work done in these 6 creative days, a psychological adjustment, which is measured not by sidereal time, but by actual subjective accomplishment. Just as a life in retrospect is measured not by years, but by the content of those years, So too is this psychological interval measured, not by the time spent in making the adjustment, but by the accomplishment of that interval. The true meaning of 6 days creation is revealed in the mystery of the vowel, which is the sixth letter of the Hebrew alphabet and the third letter in the divine name Jod He Vav He, which is as previously explained in the mystery of the name of Jehovah. Vow means to nail or join. The Creator is joined to his creation through feeling, and the name is the time that it takes you to fix a definite feeling, is the true measure of these 6 days of creation. Mentally separating yourself from the objective world and attaching yourself through the secret of feeling to the subjective state is the function of the sixth letter of the Hebrew alphabet, vow, or the 6 days of work. There is always an interval between the fixed impression or subjective state and the outward expression of that state. The interval is called the Sabbath. The Sabbath is the mental rest which follows the fixed psychological state. It is the result of your 6 days of work. The Sabbath was made for man. This mental rest which follows the successful conscious impregnation is the period of mental pregnancy, a period which is made for the purpose of incubating the manifestation. It was made for the manifestation. The manifestation was not made for it. Automatically, you keep the Sabbath day, a day of rest, a period of mental rest. If you succeed in accomplishing your 6 days of work, there can be no Sabbath, no seventh day, no period of mental rest until the 6 days are over, until the psychological adjustment is accomplished and the mental impression is fully made. Man is warned that if he fails to keep the Sabbath, if he fails to enter into the rest of God, he will also fail to receive the promise. He will fail to realize his desires. The reason for this is simple and obvious. There can be no mental rest until a conscious impression is made. If a man fails to fully impress upon himself the fact that he now has that which hereto he desired to possess, he will continue to desire it, and therefore he will not be mentally at rest or satisfied. If, on the other hand, he succeeds in making this conscious adjustment, so that upon emerging from the period of silence in his subjective 6 days of work, he knows by his feeling that he has the thing desired, then he automatically enters the Sabbath or the period of mental rest. Pregnancy follows impregnation. Man does not continue desiring that which he already has acquired. The Sabbath can be kept as a day of rest only after man succeeds in becoming conscious of being that which he before entering the silence he desired to be. The Sabbath is the result of 6 days of work. The man who knows the true meaning of these 6 work days realizes the observance of one day of the week as a day of physical quietness is not keeping the Sabbath. The peace and quiet of the Sabbath can be experienced only when man has succeeded in becoming conscious of being that which he desires to be. If he fails to make his conscious impression, he has missed the mark. He has sinned. For to sin is to miss the mark, to fail to achieve one's objective, a state in which there is no peace of mind. If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin. If man had not been presented with an ideal state toward which to aim, a state to be desired and acquired, he would not have been satisfied with his lot in life until he never would have known sin. Now that man knows that his capacities are infinite, knows that by working 6 days or by making a psychological adjustment, he can realize his desires, he will not be satisfied until he achieves every objective he will. And with the true knowledge of these 6 work days, define his objective and set about becoming conscious of being it. When this conscious impression is made, it is automatically followed by a period of mental rest. A period the mystic calls the Sabbath, an interval in which the conscious impression will be gestated and physically expressed. The Word will be made flesh, but that is not the end. The Sabbath or rest which will be broken by the embodiment of the ideal, will sooner or later give way to another 6 days of work as man defines another objective and begins anew the act of defining himself as that which he desires to be. Man has been stirred out of his sleep through the medium of desire and can find no rest until he realizes his desire. But before he can enter into the rest of God or keep the Sabbath, before he can walk unafraid and at peace, he must become a good spiritual marksman and learn the secret of hitting the mark or working 6 days, the secret by which he lets go of the objective state and adjusts himself to the subjective. The secret was revealed in the divine name Jehovah, and again in the story of Isaac, blessing his son Jacob. If man will apply the formula as it is revealed on these Bible dramas, he will hit a spiritual bullseye every time, for he will know that the mental rest or Sabbath is entered only as he succeeds in making a psychological adjustment. The story of this crucifixion beautifully dramatizes these 6 days, psychological period, and the seventh day of rest. It is recorded that was the custom of the Jews to have someone released from prison at the feast of the Passover, and that they were given the choice of being released unto them either Barabbas the robber or Jesus the Savior, and they cried, "Release Barabbas." Whereupon Barabbas was released and Jesus was crucified. It is further recorded that Jesus the Savior was crucified on the 6th day, entombed or buried on the 7th, and resurrected on the 1st day. The Savior in your case is that which would save you from that which you are not conscious of being, while Barabbas the thief is your present conception of yourself, which robs you of that which you would like to be. In defining your Savior, you define that which you would save you, and not how you would be saved. Your Savior or desire has ways ye not know of. His ways are past finding out. Every problem reveals its own solution. If you are in prison, you would automatically desire to be free. Freedom, then, is the thing that would save you. It is your Savior. Having discovered your Savior, the next step in this great drama of the resurrection is to release Barabbas the robber, your present concept of yourself, and to crucify your Savior, or fix the consciousness of being or having that which would save you. Barabbas represents your present problem. Your Savior is that which would free you from this problem. You release Barabbas by taking your attention away from your problem, away from your sense of limitation, for it robs you of the freedom that you seek, and crucify your Savior by fixing a definite psychological state, by feeling that you are free from the limitation of the past. You deny the evidence of the senses and begin to feel subjectively the joy of being free. You feel this state of freedom to be so real that you too cry out, "I am free, it is finished." John 19:30. The fixing of this subjective state, the crucifixion, takes place on the 6th day. Before the sun sets on this day, you must have completed the fixation by feeling, "It is so, it is finished." The subjective knowing is followed by the Sabbath, or mental rest. You will be as one buried or entombed, for you will know that no matter how mountainous the barriers, how impassable the walls appear to be, your crucified and buried Savior, your present subjective fixation, will resurrect itself. By keeping the Sabbath a period of mental rest, by assuming the attitude of mind that would be yours if you were already visibly expressing this freedom, you will receive the promise of the Lord. For the Word will be made flesh. The subjective fixation will embody itself, and God did rest the 7th day from all his works. Your consciousness is God, resting in the knowledge that it is well, it is finished, and your objective senses shall confirm that it is so, for the day shall reveal it. And that concludes our chapter tonight. So yeah, that's a lot of deep knowledge to lay on all y'all. I would advise you to re-listen to it. I apologize if I didn't pronounce like the Hebrew names right. Like I'm not even sure how to say the one name. I might have botched it and said it incorrectly, but I tried to say it how I imagined it would be pronounced. As for like the characters in the Hebrew version of Jehovah, I don't speak Hebrew. That is not one of the many languages I have become polylingual and learned a bit of. So forgive me if I don't have the best pronunciation of that. But I'm sure you get the gist of what the message was of that. Like basically, when you're looking at the 6 days shalt thou labor and the Sabbath being the day of rest, it's saying that as you work towards developing yourself to become the person inwards of the person that would have this outwards, basically that's like your process of becoming that. That's the 6 days. You're working on fixing that psychological state into your mind and trusting your spirit. And then on the seventh day, that's not meaning 7 days later necessarily. It could come in 7 days. It might take longer. It could come in as short as 3 days or less, Neville Goddard once said. So that's not a definite time interval. It's as he said, you look at somebody who, when they pass away, when they look back on their life, they don't necessarily look on just how old or how young they were. Sometimes they do, but most of the time, what people remember the person for is what they accomplished in that lifetime, right? So that's a very crucial, important thing to kind of take into consideration. Now, with the discussion, because I did mention like the single doing very good, the ideas with the new song, which I mentioned, Koishiteru, that I'll be making. So I actually did discuss a lot of what I did plan on. Thank God, I am very grateful now that my assumption of Hitomi Shimatani becoming well again fulfilled itself. She's doing better. I always continue to watch Chihara-chan's wonderful vlog videos where she's eating her food and very funny, drinking. She had a hot pot in her other video the other day, but always drinking different kinds of beer, and she's just great to watch. Very good friend of mine. And then, like I said, I've also made a lot more very nice Japanese friends lately, such as Otani-san, Yoshida-san, and I'm very grateful for all of them. So stay tuned, and next week we will be back with another episode of live Clow Card readings. Till next time, oyasumi nasai minasan, domo arigatou gozaimasu. Super Kami Guru Alucard. Peace out. Matane.